Hello and welcome to the fifth video where we're going to try to implement some awesome features or more features to our player. As you can see in our player, we only have the name, transform, and sprite renderer. And of course, sprite renderer is used for rendering the sprite or giving it an image, right? But in today's video, we're going to add more effects to the player. So a very important feature in any game is gravity. So we don't want the player to, when we click play here, we don't want the player to stay in the air for a long time, and there's no any force that allows it to go to the ground or anything. So what we're gonna do today is add those forces. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click in the inspector, click the player, go to the inspector, and click add component, and we're gonna add a new component which is rigid body. As you can see, there's two types of rigid body and rigid body 2D. And since we're making a 2D platformer, we're going to use rigid body 2D. As you know, Unity is a 3D and 2D game engine, and this rigid body is referring to 3D game making, and rigid body 2D is used for 2D game making. So we're going to use rigid body 2D. Okay? Now you see there's a lot of types here, and wait a second. Let me just close this so I can make some more easier. And let me see, we got rigid body 2D, and we got body type, material, stimulated auto mass, linear graph, and more. So we're not gonna focus more on this yet, and we're just gonna focus on the body type. So in the body type, when you click this arrow here, you can see that there's three types: dynamic, kinematic, and static. As you can see, the features from dynamic is a lot, kinematic less, and static finally the least. So in static body type, rigid body, when we click play, it doesn't move. So static is basically the body type in rigid body where the player isn't exerted any force and will just stay stationary there. The second is kinematic. And kinematic is basically, it doesn't move, but then it can be pushed or moved by other objects, but it doesn't move itself. And finally, dynamic. Dynamic is a type of rigid body where a force is applied on it, and that force is gravity. So these different types of bodies or body type in rigid body are very important for each and every different type of character you're gonna make. So for the meantime, since our player wants to be affected by gravity, we want to make sure that it's in dynamic and we don't, or kinematic, because both of these can be affected by gravity. However, in kinematic, it cannot move and can only be moved by other objects. And we don't want that since this character is our player. And we want to move the player based on our keys. So we want dynamic. And this is a physics material, and we don't actually use this because everything we need is here. And it's still pretty basic, so I'm going to stick with the basics, and physics material might be covered in the future topics. Stimulators just make sure that the computer stimulates the gravity, auto mass. You don't need to actually do the auto mass. You can change a lot of these values here. So like instead of 1, we can give it a 5, and it's gonna go down much faster. But then we're gonna leave this for now and focus on the other topic, which is our colliders. Because when we have an object, we don't have anything that the object can collide with. So nothing will be stopping this rigid body from just dropping down the character to the infinite abyss. So what we're gonna do is add a collider for the character. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna add component again, and we're just gonna type in colliders 2D. And as you can see, there's a lot of shapes here: box, capsule, circle, composite, edge, polygon, tile map. It's a lot. So we're going to be focusing more on the box collider for our character. Click on box collider here, As you can see, when we click play, nothing happens. Well, the reason why nothing happens was because we didn't actually edit anything for the collider. Now we can see that there's a collider here. We can stretch this down to here. Let's just say right around here. And we're gonna lower it down a little bit to its head. Like this. And yeah. Now when we click play, it still dropped down. Well, the reason why this happens is because this player can collide with something. But then the player will not ever crash to the tile map or collide with the tile map because the tile map itself doesn't have any colliders. So what we're going to do for the tile map is going to click the foreground, right? Because we've made sure that we drawn in the foreground and not the background. And we're going to go to the inspector again because this is what you're going to see for the characteristics. I'm going to click in add component, and as you can see, Unity is already kind enough to provide a tile map collider. And that's really useful because it directly already draws for you all the tile maps. So now, look, as you can see, it already draws the boxes and everything. So now, if we just go to play, we can see that the player is now on the ground. So if we just drag this to the top, as you can see, it drops to the ground. Very nice. Now another feature that I would like to emphasize is making slopes. I haven't made any slopes here, but if you guys focus or want to play slopes inside a game, what you're gonna need is more collider, and you'll know the reason why once I'll show you. So give me a second, let me just make a quick map. Okay, so as you can see from the slope here, when we create a slope in the tile map, we can see that, let me just show it easily by clicking the background and making sure that the background isn't rendered. Let's see, I just want to click background here. Okay. When we go to the foreground here, we can see that the tile maps or colliders can be seen clearly. Look, you see that there are these. You can see that there is these lines here. And these aren't perfect lines here, you can see. And this is a problem that Unity face when using the tile map collider. The tile map collider 2D. And the way to fix this problem, as you can see, it's not smooth, right? And there's like edges here where the player isn't allowed to touch here. So like this is flat, and out of nowhere there's like an edge, like where the player has to jump, and it's not smooth. And the way you can fix this is by creating something like this, right? You want it to be as smooth as possible. Make a line here, and then it goes down. So a way to fix this is by creating or adding a polygon collider. And so the timeout collider will always work. Then we're just gonna click this, we're gonna short this because we're not gonna change anything. But then the polygon here will work, will act as, where is it? Oh, it's large. So the polygon will act here as a slope making collider. So if we go here, we're gonna go here. Let's just say we don't need this anymore. So what you're gonna do if you want to delete parts of the polygon collider 2D is you're gonna go click Windows. You're gonna click Windows or Windows, and you're gonna go to the line that you don't want and just click Windows, and it's gonna show a red line, and you can delete that part. As you can see, I delete that line, delete this line, and there you go. And to add line, it's really simple. It's just you go to the polygon, you gotta go here, or you can go to the line here and just drag directly and form a new line. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to this, and we're gonna make sure that the collider here is perfectly synced. So we're gonna show this again. Okay, you can see that there's two lines here. We're gonna try to make sure that this all fits together. We're just gonna make sure that increasing the when going up is much easier. So yeah, I just hit this much. Then this part, as you don't need it, you can either delete it or you can just let it stay here for the meantime to help. Okay, this guy is just here to make sure that this is all polygon. So as you can see, the polygon collider is already activated, and as you can see, it makes a good straight line now. As you can see now, the layer is fixed, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna check again the background so that there's gonna be a background in front. Untag and check again, and there you go. Now we have the normal setup once again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys understand more about platformer making, and I'll see you in the next video.